Hello, Los Angeles. Hello, fans of Major League Soccer. Hello, fans of the beautiful game. And as always, hello to the millions
and millions
of Defenders of the Bank listeners. This is a very impromptu live pod, episode 257. Now, we may not have a title yet, but I'd say in Houston, we had a problem. Plenty to unpack about that disaster momentarily. But first, let me introduce the dynamic duo. My name is Christian Philly Filament, otherwise known as the platinum-colored haired flamingo, and I'm coming to you live from world-famous Philomonster Studios in Burbank, California, just mere minutes away from Universal Studio Hollywood. And if anybody's been out there to check out that Mario World joint, let me know. I'm dying to get there. And joining me all the way from the west side of town, the mouth of the South Bay, the warlock of wool, the tyrant of threads, the king of knits, the nobleman of neckwear. In Romania, they call him Fular, but around here, we all know him as J.R. Liebert.
The Scarf, what's good? LAFC faithful, black and gold, what is good? And I asked that because I'm literally asking, what? Is there anything? Is anything good? What's good? I don't know. It's been 22 days since our last win. And look, I don't count that Monterey Bay FC game, but this has been rough sledding for the black and gold recently. There's a lot to unpack, especially from this last match. What we're going to do here is we're going to walk through that 4-0 absolute woodshed beating that we got in Houston by Houston. And look, it was bad. I mean, it was really, really, really bad. But I'm here to tell everybody it's not going to be that bad moving forward. I've got some ideas. I've got some thoughts. But let me tell you, we got Arctic Vibe Celsius, says Joseph on this. I got the Celsius Live Fit working right now. Philly has either whiskey or coffee, and I'm betting it's coffee.
Yeah, man. It's going on 6 weeks of sobriety. And I've honestly enjoyed it. I never thought I would. I mean, I've got this persona of being known to drink from a shoe, whether with a cup in it or whether there's booze in it. But man, I've been drinking nothing but coffee and seltzer water, and I've been feeling really, really good, man.
Yeah, look, I just came from the LAFC 2 match down in Fullerton. Literally got in the door at about 7:40.
All kinds of L's for you this weekend.
20 minutes before showtime. Let me tell you, still no goal scored by anybody wearing black and gold over the weekend. But I'll say this. LAFC 2 played one hell of a game. They took on Colorado Rapids 2 and lost 1-0, but Rapids 2, 8-0-3 coming into the match, #1 team in MLS Next Pro, and we should have had several goals in this match. So kudos to those guys. They're coming very, very close to finding it. And just one quick little note, we got to pay some bills right after this, but Tony Leone back out on the pitch for the first time in quite a while for LAFC 2. So stoked about that. We will, don't worry, J140, we will address the Chicho Arango. We should have paid. We should have done this. We should have done that. But before we do, we got to remember that we are part of the Flex family. We are part of the Flex family. And we love them so much. Head on over to flexpowertools.com for all your power tool needs. And I will say this again, because now we've got people in here live as well. If you buy a tool from flexpowertools.com before the end of 2023, so you got plenty of time, it comes with a full lifetime warranty. I asked Rigo, our guy over at Flex, I said, Rigo, what if I say this on the podcast? What if I say that every single thing that comes in the power tool box is covered, just not the cardboard box that it comes in? He goes, that's exactly right. Everything is covered. So flexpowertools.com. You need a new drill. You need a cool work radio. You need some cool lights to make sure you can work at night. Whatever it is you need, head on over to flexpowertools.com. And again, we are so happy to be part of the Flex family. And yeah, while you guys are here, I'm going to be that guy. Hit the like button, subscribe to us. Why not? But more importantly, head on over to lafc.com/Mo-Facio so that we can begin the building process and end the fundraising process for the Mo Facio futsal court in Southeast LA. You guys, what number can we donate? I'm going to say this. I'm going to say we donate 40 for 4-0 for the score line from this last match. $40 if you can. Head on over to lafc.com/Mo-Facio. Donate $40. Philly, your thought, your number.
It was my anniversary this weekend. I spent a great deal of money. I'll donate $4.00 in honor of this lousy scoring line.
$4.
Bro, hotels in California aren't very cheap.
All right. Well, we're officially on the opposite end of that one, but that's okay. Look, we usually do our This Day in LAFC history, and we've got some news and notes. Philly, I know there is, in fact, a few news and notes that you want to make sure you cover before we get into our little Angel City Minute.
Yeah, of course. I mean, so you obviously saw the news earlier this week. We did sign a player. Now, this by no means is a designated player or a player that's going to be featuring for LAFC's senior squad anytime soon, but we obviously have to shed some light on it. We signed Bajrang Darboe as a homegrown player, a 4-year contract that's going to roll up and through 2026 with an option for 2027, obviously contingent upon performance. And we acquired him from Minnesota United in exchange for $50,000 in general allocation money. There's that funny money that we hope with this signing of Messi at some point goes away, because between TAM and GAM and thank you, ma'am, and discovery rights and all these ridiculously stupid rules that MLS has, it makes things really convoluted and really hard to understand for people just getting into this league. It seems silly if you're just getting into this after following other leagues for your lifetime. But that's the story there. As per Scarf, since he was at the LAFC 2 game, kid was on the bench. He was within the 18. Didn't get any minutes for LAFC 2 down on the campus at Cal State Fullerton, but he's been playing. He featured for the USMNT U17 team, and he's from Wisconsin, so he doesn't hold up an international spot. So welcome, Mr. Darboe. Now,
Philly, real quick, I just want to address it to everybody. Make sure you guys heard. He is a teenager. He is not a first-team signing, although he is signed to a first-team contract, but he is not a first-team signing. I don't think we're going to see him much in the 18 anytime soon.
He's 16 years old, folks. So that's he just had a sweet 16. I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, he's on the bench playing at LAFC 2 against grown men. Our LAFC 2 team might be very young, but keep in mind, they're competing against people that are older than them. They're kind of getting mopped around because they're going up against players that are 25. We hardly have anybody over the age of 23, and that's Noah Dollenmeyer. He's the oldest guy on the team, so keep that in mind. We got a bunch of kids that are still in high school and some kids that haven't even gone to prom. So just wanted to throw that out there. Now, another bit of news that just hit the waves recently, and I don't think you've seen it being promoted as much, but you're certainly going to be hearing it from us. On Wednesday, if you happen to not have a ticket for the game against Houston Dynamo, you can buy a ticket package that'll it's a special Bayern Munich /LAFC ticket package. Now, what this entitles you to is a LAFC Bayern scarf collaboration, and you know that the scarf is all about that. We have that partnership with Red and Gold with Bayern Munich. We're going to have some more interesting news on that later, but keep that in mind. And a couple other really cool things. Bayern Munich's mascot, the lovable Bernie the Bear. He's going to be rolling around Christmas Tree Lane and the Pepsi Plaza prior to the game and during the game. And in addition, what I don't have confirmation of is whether or not it is the authentic one or whether it is the replica, but the actual Meisterschale, the Champions Bowl, the Bundesliga trophy, will be on display on Wednesday, which is pretty cool. Little bit of history on what they also like to refer to as the Salad Bowl in Deutsch. FC Köln was the first club to receive this shield in 1964. Now, by receiving it, meaning get to have it in their copies. Now, every German champion since 1949 has held this shield. And like the Stanley Cup in the NHL, the winners are inscribed within this shield. And from what I've been told, the shield can go up to 2026. Then they're going to have to expand upon it. But it's pretty darn cool that it's been going on in existence. It replaced a trophy called the Victoria Trophy, which was given to every German champion from 1903 up until around World War II, where it mysteriously disappeared. So make sure that you're going to be at The bank, and I'm calling it the bank because I don't care. There's my $5 since I only donated $4. But yeah, the Meisterschale is going to be there. Bernie's going to be there. Pick up a ticket. You might get that LAFC and Bayern scarf. That's going to be pretty cool. This red and gold partnership is going to be really neat. And one last bit of information before Scarf goes on to talk about his stuff. Happy birthday to Jimmy Lopez, the former president of the 3252, and now the manager of community and brand of LAFC. He turned a year older. Not going to blow up his spot and let all y'all know how old he is, but happy birthday to Jimmy, friend of the pod. Scarf, your turn to dish out some more news.
All right, let's back up. First of all, it was about, you said, like, I felt like we were on Pee-wee's Playhouse where you say the magic word and like everybody goes nuts. You said scarf and I was like, because there is a new scarf. You guys, we saw somebody in the chat. Where's Johnny at? Johnny, you said, why buy tickets on Wednesday? A lot of free tickets will be going out. Low attendance is expected after that 4-0. I hear you. We almost lost Philly. He just spit out all of his water. I hear you, Johnny, except the only way to get this scarf, and who wouldn't want a Bayern LAFC split scarf?
Dortmund fans.
I mean, right, true. But either way, that's why you buy tickets. That's why you buy tickets. Also, say the name of the salad bowl one more time for me.
Meisterschale.
Thank you. I just like to hear you say that. All right, Philly.
Before Champions Bowl in German.
There has been some rumors going around, and I want to address it in the chat. Let's see here. We got this one here from David saying Coach Cherundolo returning to the U.S. men's national team, and then we got a question here from Six. I'm just gonna call you Six because there's a lot of other stuff going on there with the name. With the recent news that Steve's been interviewed for the U.S. men's national team job, how would the sudden departure affect the trajectory of this team? Well, I got thoughts on that. Let me tell you. First, I am super happy that Steve Cherundolo is in consideration for the U.S. men's national team job. I will say it's something that you and I, Philly, have chatted about on this podcast before. It was widely thought that Jesse Marsh was the number one man for the U.S. men's national team job, and that potentially Jim Curtin was the number two man for the U.S. men's national team job, which is the reason why Jim Curtin does not have a contract right now. But with the way that LAFC has been playing since Steve Cherundolo took over, is it any surprise at all to all of you out there that Steve Cherundolo is not only on the radar, but now being potentially heavily considered for the U.S. men's national team job? Of course it's not. Look at the way he's been playing. Now, look, I know we didn't play that well against Leon. We kind of got outcoached by Larcamont. We definitely didn't play well in Houston. I don't think we got outcoached. I think our guys are just dead. But I think it would be the biggest coup in the world if we could get our head coach moved on to the U.S. men's national team. For 4 years, we get to root for Steve Cherundolo and the U.S. men's national team. I would take it in a heartbeat. Tata Martino is not coming because he's going to go coach Messi in Miami. Philly, your thoughts on Cherundolo to the U.S. men's national team?
He's interviewing. That doesn't mean a damn thing until he signs a piece of paper saying, this is it. And it does not come as a shock. We talked about this ad nauseum last year, and I know we talked about this on
Latin.
110 Football.
That's Latin. You said Latin.
Thank you. You are a Latin teacher after all. One of, 5 in this country. Who the hell still teaches Latin and for why? I don't know. Hey, you know what? That gives you job security, so I ain't going to say anything about that. So we want Scarf to have a job because, California's expensive. It's no surprise because he's done a lot of tremendous things in a short period of time. He also has ties as a player. But let's not get things twisted. He doesn't have that much coaching experience still. Yes, he is at the helm of the Ferrari of Major League Soccer right now. We are not, even though we've been playing like a Fiat recently. Yeah, you know where those comments originally came from. And good on that guy's career for retiring. Anyway, I don't envision him taking that gig. I don't envision him being the number one person to take that gig. You get a guy like a Bob Bradley, who I believe had a decade and a half's worth of experience before he took the helm and the job as the head coach of the U.S. men's national team. The fact that Steve is in the conversation speaks volumes, but I do not envision him taking on that role and that responsibility. The only reason that Greg Berhalter got that job is because of nepotism. His brother was third man in charge of U.S. soccer. He was not ready. I never liked Greg Berhalter. I think he absolutely exceeded his expectations. I believe somebody like a Jim Curtin would be much better. Somebody like a Jesse March would be much better than a Steve Cherundolo. And I'm also saying this because I selfishly do not want to see him go. I have my thoughts about these dolo out dummies at the end of the pod, but that is my thought.
Yeah, look, we see a lot of people in the chat saying it might be too soon. It's hard to disagree with that. I'll say that. He only does have, 50 games or so, 60 games or so of Major League Soccer experience. And look, I think we would all love to see it, except we would all hate to see it at the same time, right? So, look, J140 says, bring over Larcamon from Leon. Hey, not bad,
I would like
right?
that if that happens, sure.
I would not be upset about that at all. Speaking of things I would be upset about, Angel City lost again, unfortunately.
Hold on.
Ready?
My sum up for everything that Angel City's done other than branding.
All right, I will say this. This is a team, Angel City, and we're not an Angel City podcast. That's the Angel City Chicks. Make sure you check out at Angel City Chicks on social media if you want all of the Angel City news, notes, and a lot of what they call fluff as well, because it's fun to listen to. But that being said, they brought on Julie Ertz. They got Sidney LaRue back. Alyssa Thompson is super special. When Amandine Henry gets healthy, that's going to be a really fun squad to watch. And we saw what happened in this last match when you bring on players like Sidney LaRue and Alyssa Thompson. But here's the problem. They're getting goals scored on them early and often. Angel City fell to the Washington Spirit 2-1 on Saturday behind first half goals from the Ashleys, Hatch and Sanchez. And of all people, it was M.A. Vignola scoring the lone goal for Angel City. Unfortunately, all the scoring was done in the first half. Angel City not in last place. Dear God, not in last place. They are 11th of 12. Their next match is Saturday, June 17th at Snapdragon against the San Diego Wave. Part of me just wants to keep talking so I don't have to hear from our next guest, but I see Hello Kitty might want to say something.
You made her self-conscious by talking that way. She was just whispering in my ear, and she said in these words, Philly, don't be so hard on Angel City. They're going to turn it around. They are a brand now, but they will be a powerhouse soon. And she also says that you have a happy Sunday. Oh, Chris Lafferty's in the chat.
Yeah, he just
Hello Kitty's got a lot to say to him.
Yeah, he just
Hello,
left.
Mr.
Love
Lafferty.
that.
Happy birthday. I wish I was there to consume Carvel with you.
Anyways, thank you, Hello Kitty. She had to make an appearance on this pod because, well, we don't do the lives, and I just felt like annoying you.
Hey, look, we already talked about LAFC 2. Unfortunately, they did lose again, but their next match, I'm excited about this next one. At home, Cal State Fullerton on Father's Day. And Sporting Kansas City 2 comes to Titan Stadium, Philly. You know what that means. If Sporting Kansas City 2 is in the building, their head coach, part of the inaugural LAFC 2 roster, that would be Benny Feilhaber himself. Very exciting to have Benny back in a LAFC building and LAFC building. I don't know. Either way, I think it's going to be great to see Benny. Obviously, we'll be heckling Benny as often as we can as he's behind the bench. And then we'll have to give him a hug after the match. So Sporting Kansas City 2, if you guys are looking for something fun to do on Father's Day, cheap tickets, close seats, a fun atmosphere, Benny Feilhaber and LAFC 2 next Saturday. So make sure you check out LAFC 2, 5 p.m. at Titan Stadium. And that wraps up, Philly, everything that I could possibly want to say.
No way. You've always got stuff to say.
Look, I have a lot to say, but unfortunately it involves our club getting blown out 4-0 deep in the heart of Texas, which this was rough. Philly, we knew.
I think somewhere, Scarf, that a cowboy gets shot by you saying that without starting the song. So let's try this again. The stars at night are big and bright.
Deep in the heart of Texas. All right.
There you go.
Philly, we knew that Houston would be a problem in Houston. They have been very, very, very good this season. Let's be real. They, coming into this match and leaving this match, have given up 2 goals. 2 goals at home all season. They are starting to trend in the right direction. A lot of it being led by Ache Ache, but he's not scoring a ton of goals. He's actually setting up some goals. He's making the pass that leads to the pass that leads to the pass. They're starting to see him be that kind of midfield dynamo, which is really odd to see from Ache in Houston. Hector Herrera is who we're talking about. And they've got a lot of young guys who are starting to contribute. We're talking 20 and 21-year-olds on that front line. Gone are the days of Christian Ramirez not scoring for them. This is a different team. It's a young team. And you know what? I think they look up and down their roster and they realize they're playing with house money this season. This is not a roster that is built to contend. So it's a roster that plays with nothing to lose. And they certainly played that way against us. Philly, this was a tough one to watch, though, coming off of the last run of form that we have had all the way up, through, we'll go all the way back to the San Jose game, obviously 2-1. This has not been a good run for us. And this game, I think, was I forget who was calling the game, but they talked about that Franco Escobar goal being the exclamation point on what has been a really rough patch for LAFC.
I don't know about this playing with house. I feel like they've been playing with house money since the days of Stu Holden. When was the Houston Dynamo ever competitive? In our tenure. Never during our tenure. In fact, they've only beaten us once throughout the course of history. Not a great record against LAFC at home or on the road. You say they're trending in the right direction. Sure, they did just win their 6th game, but all those games are at home. This is a team that can't win on the road. And if you can't win on the road, you can't do a damn thing in Major League Soccer, although they did expand the playoff offering. So maybe that will change. So that's the story there. But yeah, you're right, man. I mean, 10th place going into this game, 18 points. Coming off of a very spirited victory in the U.S. Open Cup, beating the Chicago Fire. And where you want to talk about offensive explosions, they've really been doing it in the U.S. Open Cup. Their last 2 games, they've outscored opponents 8-1. 8-1 with only the Fire scoring against them. But you mentioned Ache not scoring a lot of goals. He is their second leading scorer, Scarf, with 3 goals, and he was their leading assist man going into this game. Amin Bassi, the man who played formerly in France, their leading scorer, 6 goals. Corey Baird, a goal. Newsflash, that dork is going to have another goal. And then Carrasquilla, another goal. This isn't a team that has that many scoring options. Yes, they are young. Yes, they could be exciting, but let's face it, they have not been good since the days of Stu Holden. Although we certainly made them look like MLS Cup-worthy champions after they laid the shebang-bang on us. Absolutely embarrassing. I am wearing this particular shirt for a reason, Scarf, because all I saw was red during that entire match. I had my anniversary, my 6-year anniversary with Panda. You and Nina were there to crash the dinner party. We loved the hell out of that. Even on our anniversary, we watched via a little iPhone at dinner at the Hotel Figueroa in downtown Los Angeles. But man, was I seeing red, hence the reason why I'm wearing the red.
Look, I'm going to say this. People are sleeping on this Houston team because I think when people look at the fact that they don't have a ton of goal scorers, they are only looking at their Major League Soccer stats. But we're talking about Corey Baird scored a hat trick against Minnesota United in their last Open Cup game before they took on Chicago and beat them 4-1. And in that game, Aliou Ibrahim had a brace, and he scored in the last game as well. This is a club that is starting to get contributions from everybody. Even the Open Cup match before that, Ulferson scored a goal. This is a club that is getting contributions up and down the roster. And I think the fact that they are not so heavily reliant on a player, I don't know, like Denny Bowanga, is really starting to help this club round into form. They are getting a ton. Do you want to do the impression one more time for Jack, if you don't mind? Just real quick while I talk. There you go. That's beautiful.
What the hell is that?
This
little pony prancing dance.
Foo-foo, hopping through the forest, scooping up the field mice and bopping them on the head.
As far as I'm concerned, that little horsey dance gets Corey Baird going to the glue factory in L.A.
Yeah, look, this is a club, though, that because they're starting to get contributions from everybody, they're playing much more open, much more loose. And look, we talked about this all the time on the podcast. We talked about it all the time. When we step into the building, when they have to see this crest with now this star over the top of it, we get every single club's best shot. And I'll tell you, not only did we get this club's best shot in the first half, we'll have to talk about Ryan Hollingshead in a minute, but being down 1-0 was fine. Being down 1-0 was fine. Taking Giorgio out, which I get it. He's still on a minutes restriction. We'll talk about that in a minute. Taking Giorgio out, it was a free-for-all after that. And Andy's right. We'll get to that in a minute.
100%.
I can't even be mad at Franco Escobar.
I mean, I can. Sure, I can. We all can. Absolutely. He's wearing orange, making us see red. Of course you got to be mad at Franco.
I get it, but that goal was pretty damn good, if you ask me. Philly, let's not forget to talk about Houston is a club that plays very, very well against LAFC, though, in these bigger games, too. They knocked us out of the U.S. Open Cup semifinals, our inaugural year. Diego Rossi wearing a backpack in that one. The hat trick by Diego Rossi, but unfortunately, Laurent Simon, who never really came back from the World Cup, and Latif Blessing, both missing PKs so that we didn't get to play for a trophy our very first year. And look, that Corey Baird guy, man, he has got to stop that. In 2021, behind a raucous crowd of just under about 8,000, Corey Baird had our only goal in a 1-1 draw in Houston. And then in last year's 3-1 win over Houston at home, Corey Baird scored Houston's only goal. So this is a guy who he's just comfortable playing with or against LAFC. I just wish he would have played a lot better with LAFC. Again, coming off a hat trick in the Open Cup, he's now got 5 goals and I think 5 assists overall for Houston this year.
Glue factory.
He's starting to round into form if you count all their different competitions. This is a club, again, that's not terrible, right? They're playing in the Open Cup semis, so they have something to focus on. They see us come in. One thing they didn't have, though, Philly, was their normal head coach, Ben Olsen, who was hired at the end of last year. He was suspended for the match because of, according to what I can see, technical staff yellow cards. So not even yellow cards that he picks up, but just for guys sitting on the bench. That is either the most MLS rule or the most CONCACAF rule that I have ever heard. Technical yellow cards, technical staff yellow cards is why Ben Olsen sitting on the bench for this one. So it's Brendan Burke, who got to coach Mark Segbers and the Colorado Switchbacks. What is it? The Colorado Springs Switchbacks. There we go. Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Easy for me to say. Last season, he was given the title of what's called Match Day Manager, which I think is something you win in a coupon or a raffle.
Hello Kitty just used an expletive that I can't say on the podcast, but she did say that's pretty pucking ridiculous. The whole technical thing, and that's why I laugh, because to hear Hello Kitty use the F-bomb, it doesn't happen very often.
Well, I'm glad you only had to hear that and I didn't have to hear it.
No, Chris Lafferty, you get a yellow card.
Whoa, Philly's got yellow cards just waiting there. Look at that. Philly, shall we get into the particulars of the starting lineups coming into this?
Yes, I agree. But I just want to disagree with the fact that Houston, other than today, plays well against us. Scarf, they're 5-1-4 over us historically, and we've outscored them 23-15. Yeah, they beat us once last season, but coming into this match, maybe we were a little like high-horsed. I get it. But they don't play that much better against us, having been outscored 23-15. That narrative, of course, completely changes after today, but I did want to make sure that I addressed that. Now,
hold on, sir. Hold on, sir. That's mostly done here at home, though. When we play them in Houston, we have only 1 win in 5 matches. So, again, I think it's one of those where, look, I think that sets up a good narrative for us, right? Because they whooped us in Houston, like I guess they normally play well against us in Houston, but now they have to come here on Wednesday. We'll get into that after the match.
Cool. All right, so let's get into the starting lineup. So real quick, addressing a couple of things. No Aaron Long, no Sergei Palencia. They were out indefinitely. On the Q list, the questionable list, you had Kellen Acosta and you had Timothy Tillman. Losing those 2 gentlemen in the midfield certainly hurts us deeply. And of course, as I mentioned on the previous pod, because we don't want to forget his name, Maxime Crepeau, our warrior, our legend, a man who should never, ever have to pay for another beer or another bowl of poutine in this town ever again. The greatest Canadian to ever don an LAFC jersey. So I just wanted to make sure we mention his name. In between the pipes, though, Big J Mac himself. In fact, I've got his jersey on me. John McCarthy. Our back line consisting of somebody who had arguably his worst game as an LAFC player. Ryan Hollingshead. In the middle of the defensive unit, we got Daniil Maldonado and Giorgio Chiellini starting in a second consecutive game. And on the outside, Chiqui Palacios, who I got to say, I love the determination and the tenacity to just keep on shooting. In the midfield, we had Jose Cifuentes, Ilie Sanchez, and making another start in the midfield, Eric Dueñas. Love me some Eric Dueñas. Don't like the fact that he gets bodied off the ball as often as he does, but I still love me some Eric Dueñas. And up top, Stipe Buke, Carlos Vela, Denis Bouanga. Our bench consisting of Eldin Jakupovic, Jesus David Murillo, Dani Crisostomo, Mahalo Opoku, Mati Bogush, Tony Leone, Nathan Ordaz, and Julian Gaines, who, well, played another game a few short afters after arriving in Los Angeles today. So that's LAFC. Scarf, give us Houston.
Yes, sir. By the way, yeah, you mentioned it. Nathan Ordaz, Julian Gaines, and Danny Crisostomo, I just watched them play for LAFC 2. Just watched them play for LAFC 2, and they didn't get off the plane until like 1:30 in the afternoon today. Look, they bring in a 4-2-3-1, and as I said, led by Brendan Burke, who gets the match day manager title and gold star on his certificate after today's match. They come out in a 4-2-3-1. And look, this is just one of those keepers that kind of gives us fits every now and then, right? Steve Clark, he's just a guy who tends to play well against LAFC. He is 37, 38 years old, kind of a journeyman keeper, but finds a way to get it done. He was, I believe, the keeper who won the COVID Cup, the MLS's back tournament. So he's got plenty of veteran experience. He does nothing really, really well. He does nothing really, really poorly. He's just a really decent MLS keeper. A player that was so bad this season, he was cut by the Galaxy and then picked up by Houston, would be Chase Gasper. Also on the back line, we have Mikhail Eric Sviatchenko, who he's half Ukrainian and half Danish from Denmark. He has 5 caps for Denmark's U.S. men's national team. Denmark's national team. They don't play for the U.S. And then on that back line, on that other fullback position, would be a man who played 23 matches, including 14 starts across all kinds of competitions like the Open Cup, the Leagues Cup, and the MLS Cup playoffs for the 2022 MLS Cup champion Los Angeles Football Club, who scored 1 goal, 2 assists, and earned 4, count them 4, yellow cards for LAFC. That would be one Franco Escobar. So a back line consisting of one of our former LAFC players. In the midfield, the Mexican legend himself, Ache Hector Herrera. The man has a gold medal in the Olympics. Look, I'm going to throw this out there. He was part of the most successful Mexican national team squad in history. They haven't won many international titles. A gold medal in the Olympics in 2012 for Ache. An incredible career, 105 caps for El Tri, a long career in Portugal with FC Porto. He won La Liga with Atletico Madrid. And of course, he also spent a few seasons with Chicho Arango's old team Pachuca in Liga MX. Also in the midfield, you have Artur, who won MLS Cup with Columbus in 2020. At the forward spots, you've got the 20-year-old Colombian Nelson Quiñones, who Ryan Hollingshead is going to be seeing in his sleep. Also at forward, Amine Bassi, the 25-year-old who's played most of his career in France before coming to Houston this year. Adalberto Carrasquilla, the 24-year-old Panamanian. And Alihu Ibrahim, the 21-year-old Nigerian who has had 3 goals in the Open Cup so far. The only player I even want to talk about on their bench, of course, is Corey Baird. More on him in a little bit. And Philly, let's be real. The entire match from LAFC was awful. Not a whole lot to talk about, to be perfectly honest. And unfortunately, we've done something that we're starting to get into the habit of doing recently, Philly, is giving up an early goal.
The Federal Bar for Heather and Chris. The Federal Bar is where you'll find some really good poutine, essentially. All the other reviews, they're from like 2019. So I don't know if any of these places are around. So the Federal Bar in North Hollywood has good poutine, and apparently Poutine Brothers, which is a food truck also that goes through LA and Orange County, would be another spot. So just
I've had poutine from Poutine Brothers. I can vouch for the poutine at Poutine Brothers. Although I'm Italian, I don't know anything about good poutine.
Okay, well, there you have it. So I just wanted to make sure that we addressed that. No, yes, we do give up these early goals in this game, and honestly, it was awful. Nothing happened. And one thing I really want to address is 15,366 in attendance in a stadium that holds around 22. You got about 69% of the stands filled for the defending champions.
What
if
percent?
that's
I'm sorry, what percent? I missed it.
About. Are you going to quagmire me?
There it
yeah,
is.
all right, you're going to quagmire me. Giggity. 69% of the seats at Houston were filled for the reigning defending MLS Cup champions. I don't know what it is about some of these OG MLS clubs, the Colorados, the New Jersey Energy Drinks, FC Dallas. I'm sure that's going to change now with Klein out down the 110. But some of these OG Chicago Fire, some of these OG MLS teams have a tough time filling the stadium, and it's quite disgusting. 11 minutes is all it takes for this game to start going downhill. And it happens, and I mentioned this during the starting lineup, Dueñas kind of getting bodied off the ball. Now, Dueñas, smaller dude. You could obviously argue that his lower center of gravity is great for him getting by defenders, but not necessarily protecting against defenders because he gets easily stripped by Carrasquilla. And he's off to the races and connects with Nelson Quinones, who has an absolutely great shot. Ryan Hollingshead is there doing what he can. It takes a slight deflection off of his leg, but it's still a great goal nonetheless. And boom, 11 minutes into this game, Houston goes up 1-0 on LAFC.
I got to ask one of our buddies in the chat, Nathan La Flame in the chat. Were you in? I know you live in Houston. Were you at the match? He says lots of seats still available. We got to meet Nathan last match. He was back at BMO for one of the matches, his first time at BMO. So I know he's a Houston resident. So that's kind of cool. Yeah,
Much
Philly.
love.
Look, with all due respect to Eric Dueñas, the nightmare started right there for Ryan Hollingshead. That ball partially deflected and became a perfect curler of a shot. I mean, just over the top of John McCarthy. Nothing he could do about that. And it was because of the deflection there by Ryan Hollingshead, which is really frustrating. I mentioned that earlier in the season, Chase Gasper got cut by the Galaxy. Well, unfortunately, in the 25th minute, Chase Gasper also gets injured in this one and gets replaced by a guy who's even older than him who used to be on the Galaxy, Daniel Steres. 25th minute to get their first sub. And look, I'm jamming ahead in this first half. I got to be honest. The 32nd minute, we don't normally accuse Jose Cifuentes of diving all that much, but the referee certainly did. Got a yellow card for a dive in the box. And that just kind of seemed to sum up the half for LAFC. A yellow card on a dive, a goal off of a deflection, just so many things that are just not quite going right in the first half. Philly, we almost had one there in the 43rd, though.
We did, but real quick, they almost had one in the 38th. Achi with a beautiful give-and-go backheel pass to Amin Bassi, lets one rip, and he just misses it. But like you were saying, 43rd minute, Chiellini with a brilliant pass into a very, very courageous Chiqui Palacios, who gets a shot, but he gets stuffed by Steve Clark. I didn't like Steve Clark as a member of the Portland Timbers. I certainly don't like him as a member of the Houston Dynamo. And I wouldn't like him if he was a member of Burroughs High School men's soccer team. I don't like Steve Clark. But needless to say, Chiqui Palacios probably doesn't like him either after Steve Clark gets a stuff in there. Then you got the 44th minute. Stipe gets a shot blocked outside of the box. But real quick, Scarf. 28th minute, right? 28th minute. And this is where you sort of want to see things with like video review. 28th minute, you had Cifuentes attracting 3 defenders on top of him just outside of the box. Connects with Stipe Buke. Stipe's wide open. He takes a shot. And I don't know. I saw the replay a couple of times. Still couldn't be completely decisive about it. Did Steve Clark get his mittens on that ball to warrant a corner kick? Or was it actually a miss and a goal kick? Because I don't think Stipe would have missed like that had Clark not gotten his fingertips on it.
Yeah, I think the issue is what we're doing in that first half, right, is we're really grasping at straws for anything that could have broken our way. Look, I did think 43rd minute on, and we had 2 or 3 minutes of stoppage time as well. I thought LAFC did a wonderful job of at least looking like they wanted something over the last few minutes. They earned several corner kicks, which was nice to actually be playing in the attacking half. But I want to bring up our first question of several things that we're going to talk about tonight with everybody in the chat. What's going on with LAFC and their corner kicks and set pieces? I don't know. Six Signs. See, you've offended Six Signs, who played for Burroughs Soccer his freshman year. What's going on with our set pieces?
I'm right down the road.
I don't know the last time that we scored on a set piece. The Ryan Hollingshead goal kind of comes to mind, where he found a little space in the box with that header where he was standing on 2 feet and found a perfect spot for that header on the back line. Everybody in the chat, if there are other set piece goals that I'm forgetting about. But gone, long gone, are the days of Walker Zimmerman and his aerial dominance on the back line. Long gone are the days of Mamadou Fall and his dominance on the back line. And boy, do I miss that kid. He's having a really good start to his career over at Villarreal Bay. And look, in this match, we didn't even have Jesus Murillo, who could get up and put one in the back of the net. We know Gareth Bale's not walking through that door anytime soon.
He was in Turkey.
Billy, what's going on with our set pieces so far this season?
We aren't scoring. It's just as simple as that. It's just as simple as that. I mean, we have a couple of people out there taking those corners, whether it be Denis, whether it be Carlos. When he's healthy, it's Kellen. At some cases, it's Tillman. It's just that we don't have the bodies that are crashing in there and successfully converting. At the same time, a lot of the opposing defenders are tossing everybody back there, making it somewhat impossible to do things. Even Steve Clark got screened off by some of his defenders during some of those set pieces. That's one thing that we were really successful with last season. And we were also very successful with set piece defense. But yes, I would agree with Andy. Free kicks have been terrible as well. Our set pieces not looking as crisp as they did last season. And that's been a problem, because we're not even really halfway into the season, but we don't really seem to come off as much of a threat when we're going from the corner or whether we get a free kick outside of the box. We're not even dangerous when we're 12 yards away from the keeper and Carlos Vela steps up to the line. We're not dangerous at all when we get fouled in, around, or near the box.
Yeah, look, I think last year we led the league in set piece goals, and this year we can't even buy one. And then let's address La Flame and then several other people in the chat real quick while we're here at halftime, who's bringing up the Chicho Arango conundrum once again. Look, and Philly, feel free to interject or correct me if I'm wrong, or to back me up on this if you think I'm right, because that would be cool too. We could not pay Chicho Arango his market value last year and still keep the roster flexibility in terms of U22 spots and in terms of all the other stupid MLS rules that are out there so that we could rebuild and retool. We could not keep Chicho Arango and stay flexible enough so that we will really make some moves here on the July 1st deadline. I'm saying right now, wait till July 1st. We have no inside information, but wait till July 1st when that transfer window opens back up again. But we could not pay Chicho Arango what he was worth. We wanted to. We totally would have, had there been the opportunity to also stay flexible up and down the rest of our roster. But we couldn't pay Chicho as much as we wanted to. We do. I know this doesn't help our performance on the pitch, but we do get a % of that sell-on fee that Pachuca is earning from this RSL deal. But LA Hobo, you keep talking smack about Steve Cherundolo. Back up what you're saying just a little bit. I would love to hear it. But either way, that's my opinion on the whole Chicho Arango thing. Philly, what about you?
The man's market value is arguably right now going to be as high as it's ever going to be. When we picked him up from the Colombian First Division, Millonarios, and a big shout out to Andy in the chat. I know Andy's Colombian. We paid a fee of around 2.27 million euros in order to bring him into LAFC. The fee for him to go over to Pachuca, about 6 million-ish or so, okay? And we end up getting some of that money back on his sale to Real Salt Lake. People think that he didn't perform as well down in Pachuca. I'm gonna argue that he just wasn't utilized properly, because in the 11 games that he played, he did manage to score 5 goals. For him, I don't blame him for moving. You want to capitalize as much as you can in order to make the kind of money to provide you that security down the road. And so I don't fault the man. And once again, this whole Messi coming to Major League Soccer thing, I hope it breaks the doors wide open on the ridiculous roster rules that we have with TAM, GAM, thank you, ma'am, nonsense. Because these are the reasons we couldn't keep Chicho, make him a designated player. I get it. I absolutely get it. But there was no way we could have done it with the way the roster was structured at that point. A DP at that point we needed would have been a U22 initiative person. We didn't sell any of the other guys down the road. Christian Teo went. Obviously, Gareth Bale went, but he wasn't a DP. And so, yeah, it chaps me to see him wearing a really salty Lake jersey. I'm pretty sure he's not going to get the same amount of fun nor good food in Sandy, Utah as he would in Los Angeles. I wish him all the best against any team against us. And I thought it was very bold of him to come out and say he wants a championship now, not next season. Now, Chicho, you're playing in Sandy, Utah, Real Salt Lake. You're not getting any closer to an MLS Cup title being there. We will cheer the hell out of you when you are at Bank of... Ooh, almost messed up there. At BMO Stadium. When you come, yeah, all right. October 1st, I believe, is when Real Salt Lake comes back and Chicho's there. He did what he could to make his money. We couldn't hang on to him because of stupid roster rules, and this is where we are. We did get paid, though, so that's a really nice bit of compensation, but having him on the roster would have been a lot better because I have no doubt in my mind, Chicho's on our team. We beat Leon. Chicho's on our team. He scores those PKs. Chicho's on our team to add to the attack with Denny Bouanga playing the way he's playing. We're firing on all cylinders, and we're celebrating the hangover of the CCL Cup had we retained Chicho.
You look, there's no denying that the biggest need, in my opinion, and Luis Perez says it right here, the biggest need, in my opinion, for this club, and then we'll get into the second half in just a minute, is a true number 9. We need that goal-scoring assassin. We need that player that will just crash to the front of the net, that will, that Adama Diamande type, that Chicho Arango type. We've seen it before. We know what we need. If this system is that variation on Bob Bradley's, it's now like LAFC 2.0, we know that no matter what, we absolutely need that number 9. Joseph Rodriguez is saying Lukaku. I mean, hey, I'll take Romelu Lukaku. I don't know that he's coming over anytime soon from Inter, but I know that he couldn't have played worse in that Champions League match. So maybe his value goes down a little bit.
By the way, congrats to him and Stacy. They just tied the knot on Friday. Congrats, Joey and Stacy. We know you're big fans of the pod. God bless and happy wedding, happy nuptials. Is that what they say?
I was like, how did you know Romelu Lukaku's wife's name? I thought we were talking about Romelu.
What are you talking about? I'm talking about Joey Rodriguez. Him and Stacy got married on Friday. No, Lukaku's with oh my God, what's that artist's name?
I don't know.
He's with somebody who's on the radio all the time. Now we're showing our age. This is embarrassing.
Now we're showing our age? Now, just now? Only right now?
You're greater than I am, so I'm hiding mine better.
So,
Megan Thee Stallion. Thank you, Producer Panda. That's what Lukaku's with.
I was like, wait, we said that in the chat. Whoa. Okay. All right. So here we go. Second half. We bring in the M&M boys. Mahala and Murillo come on for Stipe and Chiellini. Chiellini obviously still on a bit of a minutes restriction. Stipe really didn't do a whole lot. I think we were trying to get a little bit of energy. Let's bring in Erling Haaland.
He's worth more than Major League Soccer is.
Yeah,
Pretty messy, I guess.
Personally, Mahala was brought on for one reason, right? We needed that energy. We needed that spark up top. Mahala is the closest thing we have, I'll say it out loud, to a true number 9 right now when he's told exactly what to do. So go crash and go score goals. The problem is that Mahala is our truest thing we have to a number 9 right now.
He's got 2 goals on the season.
Yeah, that needs to get upgraded for sure. I can't wait till Giorgio is just healthy and can go a full 90 again. And Philly, Ryan Hollingshead did not have a good game. And it took just 4 minutes into the second half to compound the problem once again. Ryan Hollingshead takes out Quinones in the box.
Really? That's my question, Scarf. Did he really take out Quinones?
So look, in our show notes, you know that I have to do this right now. Let's debate soft or not. on that PK, right? Like, look, I can't help but remember back to, I don't know, a couple of days ago against Atlanta when our guys got taken out a couple of times and we couldn't get a damn call from the referees. And here we catch the blade of grass that was adjacent to Nelson Quinones. He goes down. And I have to go back and watch the video several more times. But I didn't think that was a PK. I know that Ryan Hollingshead didn't think it was a PK. Ryan Hollingshead has to feel completely snake bit right now. He barely got time against Leon and looked awful. He's had a couple rough matches in a row against Atlanta and now obviously against Houston. We love Ryan Hollingshead. You and I have spent several different occasions with Ryan Hollingshead. We love Ryan Hollingshead. But my dude, this is not cutting it recently, my friend.
He's not. The thing that drives me nuts is I love the technology that you see, like watching Peacock or NBC or anything else, anytime the Premier League is on, because they'll go to the VAR immediately and you'll get to see it from every single angle, which way, shape, or form to somewhat eliminate any kind of doubt. I wish things were a little more standardized to the point where we can see that in Major League Soccer. We've talked time and time again, and by no means were they the reason that we lost the game because our team was absolute shite, for lack of a better term, the other day. Family friendly, I know. I let one slip. I had to. We lost 4-0. Worst loss in the Steve Cherundolo era. I'll add another $5 into the philanthropic jar. But I wish they standardized it a little more to where we could actually see it. It sucks to still be having this conversation 24 hours later and questioning whether or not it is a penalty. We can find a man in a hole in the middle of the desert, but we can't figure out whether or not Ryan Hollingshead is guilty of tackling Quinones and being hit with an infraction in the box. Drives me crazy. Needless to say, boom, he has it. John McCarthy, not as successful blocking the free kicks that occurred that way. Better at the end of the game. But it didn't take much time in the second half for them to go up. And their leading scorer, getting his 7th of the season, Amin Bassi, hits one way, J-Mac goes the other way, and now we're looking uphill 2-0.
Yeah, I gotta make sure I correct our buddy Lafferty. You gotta do a little bit of a different math. He's up to $19 so far on the episode. That's his third BMO/swear mistake. So let me just correct. There we go.
Why do you think I started off so low, Scarf? You questioned $4. I don't like that. I usually eyeball it.
All right. So we're down in the 50th minute. It's 2-0. And in the 63rd minute, which is where I'm going to go next, I think Ryan Hollingshead was doing a little golf clap on the side, a little jump for joy as Nelson Quinones was subbed off. Quinones gave Ryan Hollingshead absolute fits. Philly, is there anything you would like to talk about before we get to that giggity goal and more of the Ryan Hollingshead horror show?
We're sitting in this little restaurant at Hotel Figueroa. And the minute we see Quinones going down and we see Corey Baird, I turned around the Scarf, Panda and Nina, and I said, if Corey Baird scores in this game,
this is true.
I'm done. I'm done watching this absolute travesty of a match.
That's literally what I said. You said you would walk out.
I did say I would walk out. Now, it's amazing how the laws of attraction work. For those who've ever read Think and Grow Rich or The Secret or I don't know, How to Win Friends and Influence People, the laws of attraction seem to work. Although I haven't claimed my $1 million lottery ticket yet. I somehow, you want to talk about snake bit? I myself threw a bit of that snake bitten potion on LAFC, because what you're going to talk about in the 69 giggitieth minute was exactly what I said in the 63rd.
Hold on, I got to throw something out there. Let's see. Wait for it. And go. There it is. All right, perfect. Look, Ryan Hollingshead. I don't know if we talked about it yet. He didn't have a good game. I don't know. I never played professionally football. Never did.
Lies.
I never played fullback or center back or striker like Ryan Hollingshead used to. But one of the things that I do know is you don't want to give the ball up to the other team in front of your own box. And I'm just not sure what Ryan Hollingshead was doing. Oh, Lafferty got a red now. That's it. Ryan Hollingshead gets his pocket just absolutely picked absolutely picked by Corey Baird. And then Corey's just able to kind of wander through the box, little meandering, like, I don't know, like a little bunny hopping through the pea patch there. I don't know what Daniil Maldonado is doing, just letting him have all the space in the world. And you give a guy that kind of room from about 12, 15 yards out. And unless he's Carlos Vela, he's putting it into the back of the net right now. A flat-footed John McCarthy, Corey Baird hammers this ball, given all kinds of space. We don't lock down. We don't close out. We give the ball to Corey Baird as if he's still playing for LAFC. And I double-checked. Ryan Hollingshead and Corey Baird never overlapped while they were at LAFC, so I don't know what Ryan was doing. I was so frustrated at Ryan after that goal. I was so frustrated at our back line, especially after taking Chiellini out. I didn't like it. I didn't like it, Philly. We're down 3-0, and you have to walk out of your own anniversary brunch.
I mean, look, I didn't let that game spoil my anniversary. I put it on the shelf, and I have that raw emotion for this. So that's you want the impression again? Fine.
I love this. When the chat's involved, Philly has to listen to the chat sometimes.
No, I like it. I've got the attention deficit stuff going. So squirrel. I'm that kind of a guy. But yeah, I think I don't know why I made like a pony reference and reference the glue factory. Rabbits don't go to the glue factory. He did a bunny rabbit thing. You're right, Scarf. So I think Corey Baird needs to land in our black and gold pot of Hassenpfeffer, because Hassenpfeffer is the type of stew that has rabbits in them. That was the cheesiest goal celebration I've ever seen in my life. You might as well put him in an Easter bunny costume after he's done. He auditioned. We'll be seeing him at I don't know, the mall down the road from your house after his career in Houston is done, but not if he scores against people like he did against us. He zip-zagged right by Daniil Maldonado, got beat on a couple of occasions. Daniil also did not look good on top of Ryan Hollingshead. But to have Corey Baird, yes, he did succeed in the U.S. Open Cup with a number of goals, but for him to double up his scoring line 2-2 this season and having that be against LAFC, that's a bummer. And there's something, and I think you and I were talking about this, and I kind of wanted to give an honorable mention of my players to watch, and that of Franco Escobar and Corey Baird. Both of these players felt like LAFC just didn't appreciate them and somewhat did them dirty. So they obviously had some extra motivation to come out and fire against us. And it's just adding kerosene to this fire or bigger nails into our coffin to have these two people score against us. I would have been fine and slightly pissed off us losing 2-0, but to lose 4 and have it against two LAFC players against us, Hassenpfeffer for you, Corey Baird.
Yeah, look, what was that sound? All right.
I threw my empty Gerolsteiner cap. And by the way,
71st minute,
this is really good stuff.
71st minute, Mati Bogusz comes on for Carlos Vela, and that was when I realized Carlos Vela was playing for LAFC. So I not the best game for our captain, for Carlos. Some people are saying that he looks a little disinterested, looks a little unhealthy. Man, everyone relax. I think the dude, along with, 20 other guys on our club right now, are just absolutely flipping exhausted. And oh, by the way, we play again on Wednesday, and then on Saturday, and then on Wednesday, and then on Saturday. We don't really have a break until right around the 4th of July. Actually, we get a week off at the end of June. At the end of June, we get like a week off. There's not a lot of rest coming for these guys, and we're going to see some performances like this. So Mati Bogusz comes off for Carlos Vela, Mati Bogusz comes on for Carlos Vela. And in what I thought was our bright spot of the night, what I thought was our only bright spot of the night, was Julian Gaines. Now, I know Julian Gaines. You got the applause queued up there, Philly, for Julian Gaines. You mind hitting that for me real quick? Where is it? There it is. Hey. All right. Listen, everybody. Julian Gaines. I want to give a quick spotlight on Julian for just a second here. Julian Gaines, first of all, has a healthy pelvis. He's got a healthy pelvis. So that means, number one, he's able to play football, which is great. But number two, I want everybody to really understand what's been going on with Julian Gaines behind the scenes. He has been a member of our club for quite a few years now. And they have been working over the past couple of years to turn Julian Gaines into a fullback, into what you saw him. He came on for Ryan Hollingshead, which was great because that meant that Ryan didn't have to play anymore in the match. I love you, Ryan. This is just not a good one, but I absolutely love you. Julian Gaines comes on at fullback, and what that tells me is that the transformation to fullback is almost complete for Julian Gaines. You and I, Philly, have seen Julian play several matches with LAFC2 where he has been one of, if not the most athletic player out there on the pitch, easily the fastest player out there on the pitch. And I really do believe, what's up, Nacho? I really do believe that this match hopefully leads to some very, very good things from Julian Gaines moving forward. He is still young. He is still very athletic, and he is a player who's just been snake bit by the pelvic injury bug since he's basically come over from to LAFC. So I was really happy. I know he played in the Open Cup in the Galaxy where we played all the kids. He got his first black and gold run ever in the Open Cup in that match. But this is his first Major League Soccer match that he has played in. He is just 20 years old. He wears number 80, which has to make Philly feel good because he gets to see his number out there on the pitch. Philly, you need a match-worn jersey from one Julian Gaines in your collection now because he is the first LAFC player to wear number 80. And so I just want to take a second to spotlight and to appreciate the hard work that Julian Gaines has been doing over the last 2 or 3 years, both with Las Vegas Lights, LAFC2, and now for us.
No, I love it. You're absolutely right. We had no idea or any expectations of Julian Gaines. And then we started going down to Cal State Fullerton, and we realized like instantly he was a player to watch out for. Yes, you said it. The pelvic injury bug. He needs to lay off that Mr. Pibb, pelvic injury bug. There is your acronym. So we'll see what happens out of the young man himself.
Sorry, I just got that pelvic injury bug. Pibb.
Yeah, Mr. Pibb.
I got it.
There you go. Opening up for Steel Panther live at the Roxy. There you go. Stealing lines from
point
you.
For Philly on that one.
Hey, there you go. I mean, that's fine. I mean, that's all I have to say about Julian Gaines. The kid can play. We've seen him firsthand. Well, he can play against MLS Next pros. Let's see him obviously do his thing against senior players. And although he did look good in that game against, oh no, that was Monterey Bay FC. No, still MLS, like USL. Never mind.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. And look, referees started giving out yellow cards to former LAFC players as Corey Baird gets one in the 79th. And then your boy Franco Escobar gets one in the 81st. And Philly, it could have been 4-1. It could have been 4-0 even earlier. Then it was actually 4-0.
Yep. 82nd minute. We got lucky. There was a brilliant fast break by Houston. Olafson had some space to run, connects to a wide open Carrasquilla. And we are so lucky. It wasn't Sean McCarthy that made that save because it was the post. Carrasquilla bangs it off of from his perspective, the right side of the post, J-Max left. And yes, you are absolutely right. At that point, we should have gone down 4-0. We had nobody back there. We had a weary and older Ilie Sanchez tracking back. Where was the back line on that fast break? There was none to be seen. We're lucky that Carrasquilla put on his Imperial Stormtrooper outfit and missed. That should have been 4-0.
Yeah, that was hard to watch. I think sometimes it's a guy like Denny Bawanga that'll track back for something like that, but he was absolutely gassed. So in the 84th minute, Nathan Ordaz, who again also played today for LAFC2, comes on for LAFC. 84th minute, Nathan Ordaz for Denny Bawanga. And I don't know whether to be upset. I mean, I'm upset. Philly, I know you're upset no matter what. But sometimes, to use the phrase that Philly likes to use, I have to tip my hat off to a player that just scores a nice goal every now and then. All I want to know is, Franco, where the heck was that for us? The ball over the top from Hector Herrera takes one bounce, and then rather than coming down with it, rather than taking it at goal, Franco Escobar just decides, you know what? Let me put it top bins in the upper right corner in an absolutely perfect spot where even if John McCarthy gets a hand on it, it's still going into the back of the goal. Franco Escobar. We had to deal with Corey Baird and Franco Escobar scoring against us. Look, right? At the end of the day, Philly, I think you and I, as we saw that goal, that was absolutely our wait. What moment of the match? Philly didn't even decide to do the wait what on that one. I like it. It was just the shock of it all that sometimes you just have to give it the respect that it's due. Daniel Gazdag had one of those not too long ago against us. And look, man, it was just a nice goal, but Franco flipping Escobar, really?
We didn't see much of that because Franco was too busy having temper tantrums, costing us goals on the pitch last season. Franco's solid, man. He was solid at Atlanta United, and we were lucky to have him as a depth piece. Guy's a starter on pretty much any other team in this league. He was just a head case as a member of LAFC. And yeah, that was a brilliant goal. In fact, I'm going to say the goal of the week candidate. No, maybe Lucas Zelarayan had the goal of the week candidate.
60-something yards away, right?
Yeah, that was a gorgeous goal. But I mean, yes, honorable mention of Franco Escobar. Yeah, we lose. We absolutely lose. And it was one of the worst losses in our franchise's history. Certainly the worst loss in Steve Cherundolo's history. But I just want to quickly give the millions
and millions
a historical lesson about the worst losses that we've had. This is up there, but the worst one still occurred April 7th, 2018, down at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, where we got the crap kicked out of us 5-0. You like to refer to this scarf as the Joao Moutinho meltdown game. Still our worst in franchise history. July 22nd, a couple of short months afterwards, 2018, we lose 5-1 to Minnesota United. 2 goals by Christian Ramirez, who a couple of weeks after that, even less than that actually, graces our roster. Then we go over to April 4th, 2021. SKC whoops our pants off 4-1. November 7th, 2021. Who will ever forget that infamous decision day at Dick's Sporting Goods Park in Colorado? You and I were there along with Vince and Connor doing 110 football. We lose 5-2. And the second worst loss of the Steve Cherundolo era, August 15th, the year 2022, when we were down there in the great state of Texas, losing 4-1 to ATX. This, though, was without a doubt our worst loss in Steve's era, and in my opinion, our second worst loss in franchise history. The Houston Dynamo collect their second win against us all time in Major League Soccer and their 6th win of the season. That's that.
So I just got confirmation just right now while we're recording. This is live for everybody out there. I can break this news that I heard earlier today. It's not major news, but you know what? It's pretty cool. You guys have probably seen Philly on a lot of the videos for this Bayern LAFC partnership, the Red and Gold partnership. Well, we got some cool information, and we'll talk about it here on Defenders of the Bank first. 17-year-old, soon to be 18-year-old, Ryan Ayoub of LAFC 2. Ryan Ayoub, remember the name, 17 years old. He is set on June 15th to become the first LAFC 2 player to go over to participate in a month-long Bayern Munich Academy camp. He's going to be going, I believe, to Argentina and to Germany with Bayern Munich. Ryan Ayoub is our first player from LAFC 2 that'll be taking part in the Red and Gold partnership. I'm waiting. Go ahead.
I used the applause one too much. This one's entitled Magical.
Okay. There you go. Want to give a quick bit of knowledge on Ryan, by the way. He's a Brazilian-American. He turns 18 the day before he leaves, by the way, June 14th. He went to St. John Bosco in Bellflower, so he's a local product who is going to be heading over to Bayern. He joined the academy in 2021. So I was just given the okay. You and I talked about it pre-show. I didn't think we'd be able to talk about it on the show. But look, that's why we're doing this live. And look, I know he's really excited. He's never been to Germany before. He said he's been to Brazil to see his family, but he's never been to Germany. And his exact word when he got the call from Jordan Harvey, he said, dude, I was really stoked, is what he said. So that's what the cool kids say when they do something exciting. Let's not get lost, though, on one fact, Philly, about how badly LAFC has played recently and all the ups and downs and everything else. We are exactly 3 points out of the top spot in the Western Conference. Now, I'd hate to say that Carson did us a little bit of a favor by scoring an 85th minute goal against St. Louis to preserve a draw, but that leaves St. Louis on only 29 points. That leaves Seattle on only 28 points, and here we are on 26 points. I did not see the result of the FC Dallas game, which I'm going to look up right now while we are on the live, but either way, Philly, it's not like we're getting blown out of the building or run the doors off of in terms of the standings. Yes, this match did not feel good at all, but let's be real. We are right there in terms of the Western Conference title. Now, look, we've got some work to do if we want to bring that shield home, because we are now 14 points behind FC Cincinnati with only 3 games in hand. All right, Dallas is losing 1-0, as I'm hearing from several people in the chat. Thank you. Wow, that game is still going. Dallas losing 1-0.
Started at 7-ish. What time is it now? Yeah, they started like 7:30. Oh, wow, it's 9:11. Geez.
Yeah. So we got to get some wins if we're going to catch Cincinnati. Even if we win the 3 matches in hand, I mean, we'd still be 5 points behind them, 7 points behind them. I can do math. So Philly, this is a team. The best part about this is that we don't have to wait very long to get another crack at them.
But also that could be considered a problem because we don't have to wait very long to get a crack at them.
Yeah.
If you look at the number of podcasts and lives and content we put up, we're also firing on a lot of cylinders, something we haven't gotten to do a lot. I think back, seasons prior, we do maybe 4 or 5 of these podcasts a month. Now we're like 8, 10, 11, a ton of podcasts. But somebody asked, and I did see that out there, the positive. And you're right. We're still in the hunt. It just seems a lot worse than it really is because we've gone that. Thank you. There it is. Jesus Martin. Yeah, there's a lot to be positive about. We're tired as all hell. All right. And I know that's not an excuse, but it seems a lot worse because we did get the crap kicked out of us the other day. We had a 22-shot, 8-on-target affair against Atlanta United, not being able to walk away with full 3 points in our own stadium. We lost twice to, quite honestly, a much better team than we were in that of Leon in the CONCACAF Champions League. And then in the U.S. Open Cup, we lost to the Galaxy because we threw the kids in there. We haven't won a game since May 21st, 2-1 against the San Jose Earthquakes. And yes, that does seem like a long time ago. But again, in reality, our second loss of the season. Now, we live in a world with people seeking immediate gratification and also a world in which people suffer from short-term memory loss. I get it, folks. Marijuana is legal in California, but that short-term memory loss is questionable. We have a solid team. We're running a mess streak. We did the same thing last year. Then what happened? We pulled in reinforcements. After July 1st, you're going to start to hear some rumblings. We don't know anything. But if we, of all people, and y'all know it, I'm sure the front office has seen it even before any of us even thought it. We need reinforcements because the only guy on our team that could score is Denis Bouanga. Absolutely, Andy. We got smacked 4-1 down in Austin, and we turned our season around. It's a smack in the face, a kick to the junk, and a wake-up call. But we have to have reinforcements coming in once this transfer window opens July 5th, because we cannot just rely on Denis Bouanga. He has a bad game, and this whole thing goes to poop. It just can't happen that way. So keep the faith. We don't know what's in store in terms of roster and personnel moves just as of yet. Well, we've only lost our second game in Major League Soccer with several games on hand. Dolo out. This rhetoric is lazy and dumb, in my opinion. The man, on little experience, did a lot of tremendous things in terms of setting records, helping us win our first cup, all that other jazz. Got to show a little bit more respect to him. Is it the talented players? Yeah, sure. But it's still the system that he ran. He is still a player's coach. The players listen to him. They like him. They respect him. We should do that as well because he gave us something that we celebrated forever. So go back in time and remember that short-term memory loss. Had Manchester United got rid of Alex Ferguson back in the day, Like when he was coming off not playing very well, you're talking about 13 less titles. If the likes of, I don't know, let's talk college basketball. Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, he started out kind of rough and then started having some bad stuff in Duke, and look at where he ended up. Here we have this immediate gratification, and we think like we could do what the Premier League does and La Liga does and Liga MX does and fire some of these gaffers after a couple of bad games. Look, if Pep gets fired from Manchester City, everybody in the world is going to want him. Brendan Rodgers, who didn't do well at Liverpool, well, he did kind of well, goes to Celtic, ends up on Leicester City. Roy Hodges, so many of those guys can stay there because they're quality. Nobody's clamoring to get into Major League Soccer like they are in those leagues. So just put that in the back of your mind. And then I have another thing to say about Carlos Vela, but I've been kind of going off on a rant. I want to let Scarf chat, but things are going to be fine. They came over this hangover and absolutely should have beaten Atlanta. Yeah, we lost to Houston. So what? We're going to have crap losses, but there's no losing if you learn. And I'm sure that we learned that we're not the greatest right now, and that's going to turn our season around. Booyah.
Oh, hi. Sorry. Listen, what would the Patriots have been had they not let Tom Brady finally get started on his incredible streak? Right? I mean, come on. That's what I'm talking about, right, Philly? Right? Hey, got your Hello Kitty right there, my friend. Oh man, that's for our producer Panda typing that right now. Scarf out. Get out of here. Where's Philly? I need to borrow your yellow.
Hold on, I'm using the force. You mentioned the Patriots.
Yeah.
It's not working. It's not
here's
working.
The deal, folks.
It's not working.
We got to be careful because yes, we have lost. I know we've only lost 2 games in MLS, right? But we've endured a cluster of losses recently. And it doesn't matter if it's the kids losing to the Galaxy or if it's our first team losing to Leon. And am I crazy? Can I just throw something out there? We all can agree. I know I'm crazy. What's up, Carlos? I know I'm crazy when I say this. I get it. Let's preface what I'm about to say with the better team certainly won. The better team certainly won. But am I crazy to think that we played 2 of our worst football matches back to back in one country and in another? And if we don't give up kind of a fluky penalty, which was the right call, and if John McCarthy saves a ball that hits him like here, that after 200 minutes of playing dog water soccer, we're still 1-1 with Leon going to PKs. And now all of a sudden, everything changes. The whole narrative changes. Maybe John McCarthy puts on his MLS Cup helmet once again and starts making saves on these PKs. Am I crazy to think that we were that close from going over and playing in the Champions League? I mean, in the Club World Cup? Am I that crazy to think? Am I that crazy to think that if we win that match against Atlanta, where we put 22 shots on an 8 on target against Brad Guzan, where he turned back the clock about 10 years and he had an octopus in goal for Atlanta? Am I that crazy to think that, look, we get that win against Atlanta and the whole thing kind of feels different? Our guys are exhausted. And you know what? For the next 2 or 3 weeks, they're going to stay exhausted. We have game after game after game after game after game. But that's the price you pay when you win MLS Cup and the Supporters Shield, when you go deep into CONCACAF Champions League, and when you take a club and you make them aspirational in every single way. LA Hobo is just here to troll us. I love it. He's got Dolo out comments and our season is over. I love LA Hobo. I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. We are on the precipice of more greatness, but every now and then we hit a speed bump in that road. And that's what we're on right now. We saw it that year where we were so far out in the Supporters Shield race. And then all of a sudden in the rearview mirror, NYCFC just couldn't lose. And we just couldn't win. And pressure, instead of breaking our pipes, built diamonds at LAFC. Pressure with Philadelphia in the MLS Cup built diamonds for LAFC. It just so happens that right now, pressure is kind of wearing on our guys a little bit at the same time where father time and mother travel and anyone else in the family are all coming down against us as well. So everybody, I'm going to give you the old Aaron Rodgers. Relax. It's going to be okay. If this continues for another 2, 3, 4, 5 matches, don't be surprised. Our guys are exhausted. We're going to have to grind out some results until we can actually get a break, until Aaron Long can get 742 stitches taken out of his head, until Sergei Palencia and Kellen Acosta and Timothy Tillman and Giorgio Chiellini and Maxime Crepeau are all ready to go. Relax.
Freddie's right. I mean, going back to like what my rant when I said Leon was just a better team than us. So our streak of losing seems a lot worse. And to talk about like what you were just mentioning, we're going to have players that are going to go out for international duty. And so we're going to have a tough time with that. So yes, expect to drop a game or two there. Absolutely. So we've addressed that. There are people out there calling for Carlos out. Here's the deal. I'm Team Carlos. I'll always be Team Carlos. He was the cornerstone of our franchise from day one. That man took a gamble, hopping on a flight to Los Angeles and coming to play for a team that didn't even have a stadium. We didn't even have a stadium. And he's like, all right, I'm leaving La Liga and all the success I've had to go to Los Angeles and Major League Soccer and go to what? He had the faith and he helped bring us a lot of success. And for that, he should always be respected and applauded. Yes, we might be seeing him at the tail end of his career. It happens to the greats, going back to the days of Babe Ruth, going back to the days of Maradona, Pele. Superstars get old and the wheels come off. We can't.
It happened to Tom Brady, Philly.
I'm going to try one more time. It's not working. This force thing's a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo. It's not working. Oh, it worked. Jane Silent Bob style. But look, you want to treat your captain and your most respected, and a guy who should get a freaking statue built for him out of respect, because that's only going to attract other players as well. You want your superstars, you want to treat them like superstars. And quite honestly, Carlos Vela helped put us on the map. Had we had a lesser signing than Carlos Vela, I don't see any type of success that we've had right now. He still is our top assist man. He still is our second leading scorer. And Carlos Vela is having a crap for season. I get it. I absolutely get it. But that man still deserves to be within our respects. LA Hobo saying stuff again. So how many losses before we could say we have a problem? Bro, we've got 2 losses. We're not playing FIFA Dynasty mode on easy. LA Hobo, get over yourself. We're not going to go undefeated, brother. We're not.
You know what,
It's
though?
not going to happen.
I appreciate LA Hobo because he's keeping that black and gold standard really high, right? I appreciate that. LA Hobo, I appreciate it.
Let's all keep that standard high in our life before we expect that from a professional football
I hear you.
club.
Look, I like that LA Hobo is keeping us on our toes. We always need people in the chat keeping us on our toes like that.
Fair
Howard
enough.
is absolutely correct. Father Time is undefeated. We see what it's doing to one LeBron James right now in a Lakers uniform. We'll see if he's able to come back, except we're not in a Lakers podcast, so it doesn't matter. Look, we got Houston again in just now, 3 days? We head to BMO to take on Houston. Then we head to Sporting Kansas City on the 17th, which is just 6 days away.
Have mercy.
Then we come back home for some home cooking against Seattle and Vancouver on the 21st and the 24th. That's 5 total matches in just 15 days. You thought we looked dead in this match against Houston. 5 matches in 15 days. This is going to be quite interesting, you guys. Lots of rotation, lots of different players. Look, I'm going to call it because I saw him play today at LAFC 2, and I'm so glad that he is back healthy. I am calling that over these next 5 days, here's Scarfstradamus' prediction for you. We are finally going to see the black and gold debut of Tony Leone. I think he's finally healthy enough. He is the only one of the original 3 homegrowns, Christian Torres, Eric Duenas, and now Tony Leone, who has not played any minutes whatsoever for the black and gold. I just think he's going to make his debut in these next 5 matches, and I couldn't be more excited for Tony if he does.
He was the rising star of that academy that we thought would be the next big thing. Suffice to say, the one I didn't think would be the star became the star, which is Eric Duenas. Even Christian Torres has had a great deal more success playing for the senior team than Tony Leone does. But yeah, Tony Leone, he's bulked up. He's beefed up, and I can't wait to see him there as well. It's, You want to see the academy kids succeed at a higher level because that only speaks volumes as to what we're doing and what we're bringing up. And that's why we're successful. When Don Garber took the helm of Major League Soccer, one of the things that he wanted to do within his initiative in 1999 is to make sure we brought up local kids. And this club is doing it, and in some cases better than a lot of other clubs. And now with this partnership with Bayern Munich, the red and gold, we'll see what happens. We already have a player going through there, and we made this announcement, 6 weeks ago? So a lot of really cool things in the forefront for us. But again, reminder, we've only lost 2 games in Major League Soccer. We wouldn't be having this discussion if we weren't in CONCACAF Champions League or some of these other ridiculous tournaments. We probably also wouldn't be as tired. But like you said, that's the price to pay for being successful, and that's what's going to continue to happen. At least we get a break and not having to play in the group stages of the Leagues Cup, which is going to kick off in late July.
All right, so we're going to leave it up to the chat, and we want to hear your response on social media as well, at Defenders of the Bank, pretty much everywhere except for Twitter, which is at Defend the Bank. And remember, that's Bank with a C. Should we do more of these live pods or not? Philly absolutely loves it when we go live. I had to convince Philly to go live, and I think he likes it. I think you like interacting with the chat. I think you like hearing all the good things. Oh, Dallas lost. Okay, so we stay in third ahead of Dallas. Oh, thank you, Ruben. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, he was beaming when he got to talk about sitting in the 3252 and then playing in front of the 3252. So we got to do more of these. We are nothing without our wonderful chat, and for everybody that was there in the chat, we love you guys. Philly's got a fan now. So again, when we go live, thank you, Nathan, you're the best. When we go live, you guys make sure to log on and check us out. We appreciate all of you that came in through the live tonight. This has been episode 257. LAFC Vet wants you to shout them out, Philly, so I will let you shout them out.
Shouting you out. Love you too.
All right, there we go. So again, guys, this has been episode 257 in Houston. We had a problem. And of course, this is the LAFC podcast heard in 100 countries worldwide, Defenders of the Bank. And you know how we like, I almost forgot to mention this real quick because I'd be in a lot of trouble with Pride Republic. What an incredible showing today at the Pride Parade. You had Casey and Sujin and just the MLS Cup trophy was there. We had 2 different buses. It was absolutely beautiful at the Pride Parade. I want to give a shout out to everybody. This is Pride Month, but it's absolutely ridiculous that we need to have a special month just to show pride. We can be an ally. We can be part of the Pride movement. So please, again, big shout out to Pride Republic and to everybody out there that's part of the community. We appreciate you. We are allied with you. And thank you for being part of our community in LAFC. And if you don't like that, get lost. And that being said, I think the 3 of us, both Hello Kitty, Philly, and myself, it's time to say goodbye. So you know how we like to end all of our episodes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.